It's growing cold for good. No big deal. Bryce is having just a little too much fun on second base. Nice job, Bean! Welcome back to the homestead. You know, my mom did teach me manners that you don't talk with your mouth full, you know? And one thing she never told me is that you shouldn't make a YouTube video eating rabbit noodle soup in your rabbit hutch. But you know what? I got your attention. I wanted to just do a quick little video. You know, I filmed a lot of footage of us processing about 20 meat rabbits. And I don't know the best way to get this onto YouTube, so that video will be coming up. But why in the world would you even want to? You know, most people will think, well, why are you doing that? You're crazy. You've got a W-2 job. You've got all these rental properties. You're not indigent. You're not poor. Why would you have that kind of lifestyle, Nate? Mr. Homestead, what is going on? You're a fanatic. Well, there's also a big portion of people that watch this channel that get it. I would think that if any of you did a thought exercise of the last 3 years and you thought about what has happened, if you thought about the mandates and the tyranny of the last 3 years, if you thought about the supply shortages of 2021, you get it. Why would you want to create backyard solutions? So you know what? I'm here eating fantastic. My wife makes, normally it's chicken noodle soup. And you want to know the difference between chicken noodle soup and rabbit noodle soup as far as the taste? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. So we just barely went on a camp out, a father and son's camp out, and we had, you know, everyone in my ward knows I'm a little bit of a screw off. And so, you know, we were telling the boys that we're having rabbit, and boys are like, yeah, let's try it out. I mean, they were eating scorpions, for crying out loud. But yet they were like a little timid at first for the rabbit, but they all tried it. And unless they were lying, the overwhelming consensus was that this was good. And they were telling the truth. I saw people going back. There was one guy with one of the leaders that was, you know, taking some off the bone that hadn't been picked off, because we only brought 2 rabbits, so there's maybe 40 people there. Everyone got enough to try it, but they were picking it off the bone. It's good meat. It's pure meat. And you know what? I know exactly where it came from. So we are going on a father and son's camp out. Bye, sweetie. And we are bringing rabbit. Now, yes, we will tell them that they're eating rabbit, but maybe I'll even get a reaction if any of them want to be on film. This is the best chicken, but we're gonna disguise a rabbit in the middle of it. And then put it on the spit with the pig. Now, my message on the Manti Homestead is not just about, hey, look at our off-grid greenhouse, and hey, check out our meat rabbits, because those are like the 2 topics that make us, maybe most people are here for. We also have goats and chickens and mini Jersey cows and gardens and whatever. But the main thing here is that there is a lot of craziness going on in this world, and you can either just kind of wither in fear and anxiety, or you can just get to your gardens and your homestead and your preps, and you can be insulating yourself from a world gone mad. Now, I normally don't recommend coming in your animal hutch and eating that said animal in front of their former peers. But I've got a message and I want you to hear it. In the comments, I think some of you might be inspired and some of you might be offended. You know what? Either way, put them in the comments. I've said this before, that when it comes to backyard protein and rabbits, you know what? I am a kind-hearted individual. And these rabbits are cute. I get it. I get it. But it's no different. If you eat chicken, if you go to Chick-fil-A and you have like their filet of chicken, whatever they're called, the little chicken nuggets, and you think that they're so good, the only reason that this is weird is because when you go to Chick-fil-A, you don't think about it. You don't think about where your food came from. The reason that's a problem is, where is our food coming from? And what are they putting in our food? If you have backyard solutions, maybe you have backyard meat chickens. Our chickens in our homestead are for eggs. Rabbits, yeah, it's a supplementary source of protein. We also go to the store right now. But if you have any kind of shortages and you can't, what would you do? So that's why I force myself, a W-2 earner with quite a few rental properties. I'm not doing this for popularity. I'm doing this because I am the protector and I am the provider of my family. And if shortages come, or if I'm worried about the quality, maybe if I use other words, if I'm worried about the supply purity of food, which I am, do I have a backup plan? You are the backup plan. If you're waiting for the government to be your backup plan, then you have got more faith and trust than I do. I am the one in charge of my family, and I want to protect them. We're just about to have baby number 9. And you know what, my kids, they joke all the time, Dad, our friends think that we're rich and we're really poor. Now, by design, we have created a homestead that requires a lot of work. We have a 100-foot greenhouse. We've got a fruit orchard. Everyone tears down their fruit trees because there's so much work. When we bought this property, the first thing I did before I built my house is I planted 50 fruit trees. Because at the time I had 6 kids, almost 7 kids, and I want them to work. Because one of the missing ingredients in this world with our kids is work. And one of the ingredients that we're using an overabundance of is social media. It's kind of like making cookies. And if you get a little bit of salt in cookies, oh yeah, it's good. The salt actually increases the sweet taste of those cookies. It's good. I mean, try salt, try cookies and other desserts without salt, the ones that call for it. It's bad. But if you substitute maybe a teaspoon of salt and instead you put 2 or 3 cups of salt, you got a bad situation on your hand. And in my opinion, that's social media. Too much of that will destroy us. Adults cannot handle it, let alone kids. Tell me in the comments, am I right or am I wrong? So my kids, they don't get a phone automatically. When they're older, when they're 16, and if they're doing a sport or doing a job, we help them, we supplement them in getting a phone because they need to learn how to use this power and this technology without abusing it. But I don't spoon feed my kids social media and phones at an early age because you know what? Most adults can't handle it, let alone kids. So on a homestead, what we are trying to create at the Manti Homestead is we're trying to create alternative ways of looking at things. And our kids need to get a little bit back to the roots, to the way that I was raised, and especially the way that my parents and my grandparents were raised. Because once we do that, work is a necessity as well as gardening, getting close to the soil. Despite affluence, you can actually have your kids rooted in values that will help them survive. I firmly believe that. Because if you just outsource your kids' mental stability, social stability to schools and to social media, well, you're going to have the current problem that we have in America right now. You are. So if you want something different, maybe a backyard homestead is good for you too. You know what? As I had my children participating in the production of taking a rabbit from this to this, it's humbling because I had one kid that was helping me do the dispatching and I had another kid that was helping me do the skinning, and then my daughter was with my wife doing the processing. So, I mean, all joking aside, I'm in here trying to be flashy, but the humility that comes from truly producing your own food is something that's very godlike. Because remember, one of the first things he told us in the book of Genesis is that it's supposed to be by the sweat of your brow that you shall eat bread all the days of your lives. And as we've gone away from that and we've gone, by the labor of someone else, some other machine or or the outsourcing of our food to other countries and child labor and everything else that's going on, society has taken a massive spiritual hit. And we see the effects, the decay all throughout society. And a lot of it is linked to that. We have cut literally the umbilical cord of our food, of processing and providing our food. We've outsourced it to someone else. And I think it's had a very massive spiritual ramification and effect. So are there things you can do in your backyard? It might not be meat rabbits. It might not be backyard chickens for eggs. And it might not be a greenhouse. But you know what? This year I'm focusing on potatoes, onions, and carrots. Can you do a garden? Will that garden be good for your kids? I know you hate weeds. And I know that the kids hate weeds. But pulling those weeds and the kids learning the law of the harvest, is that good or is that bad for your kids? Or instead of the gardening, should we just throw more social media at them? Just a little video as I check in. Now, if you want, I've got several videos on my phone. I've got a video already of the greenhouse. I've got a video of me restoring the 1871 rock house. I've got a video of the processing, the dispatching, and so on of the meat rabbits. These videos keep getting lost because I got to hear from you. If you like and you subscribe and you comment, it motivates me to edit. I hate editing maybe worse than anything in this world. The only reason I'm going to do it is if you guys keep engaged. That's the way that we are in a partnership. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us on the homestead. I do think that the world is on fire, and I do think that we can minimize those effects. I do think that we are the solution. Stop waiting for someone else to bail you out. All right, see you next video. All right, take a look at this. The rabbit is done. Oh, it's done. All right, the middle of father and sons. What do you got here, Bryce?
Oh, yeah, bet. Scorpions.
You should cook one.
Scorpions.
We ate them.
It's disgusting. You don't eat scorpions.
Dude, we ate them. You cook them on a rock and you eat them.
Okay,
Maybe
enough with the flashlight.
Maybe America won't survive, dude.